Hello everyone, Modern Night Hobbies here. So today we're going to be going over a Bjorn cyberviking and essentially how to establish your Wi-Fi connection to where your cyberviking always has a connection to go home to. Now, in my previous video, I may have referred to this as a Ponagotchi-like device. Yes and no, it's similar. However, no in the aspect of it does not packet sniff and it does not take Wi-Fi packets. What it does is it scans your network, which means it has to be connected to a network in order to scan that network for ports and vulnerabilities, essentially. Now, it's a penetration testing tool and it has a couple of issues because it is in early development phase. So we're going to mitigate one of those early development phase issues by essentially telling it that it always has a default connection to go home. Let's get started. Okay, so from what you can see, I am on my PowerShell. So the first step is to actually find Bjorn. I use a ping-4 because Bjorn has this tendency to return with an IPv6 address. Can't really use that very much. Okay, we have an IPv4 address right here, which is good. However, we actually really don't need the IPv4 address. This is just in case your DNS has any issues. So we're going to go and gravitate ourselves over here. And I'm going to actually log in via PuTTY with SSH. So you're going to be able to SSH into it. Okay, once you're here, you go ahead and log in. So username Bjorn, that's a given. Password. And bearing in mind, you can set the password to whatever you want. So the password is actually inconsequential. All right, so we are in, right? Now that we're in here, we don't need the PowerShell command anymore. And for some reason, PowerShell does not work. So go ahead and use actual SSH via PuTTY because for some reason, Secure Shell works better with PuTTY. I don't know. Anyway, the first step is you show your connections. So nmcli, oh, mistyped it. And it basically works like any Linux, just like Cisco. Okay, so it's listed all of our connections. So the first connection that we have is essentially your connection to my home Wi-Fi. And then you have the loopback connection, and then you have a pre-configured connection. That pre-configured connection is actually my hotspot. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a look at how is my pre-configured connection actually connected. So show pre-configured. Okay. Okay, so well, first let me get out of this. Control-C cancels out your command. It's rather inconvenient if you ask me. This is the part to pay attention to. The connection priority is set to the highest possible, and then the AutoConnect retries and reauthentication retries is set to a default of -1. What that actually means is that it is going to retry indefinitely. It does not have a positive value. So that's how it interprets. If the value is -1, it will indefinitely retry. Okay, so now that we know that my hotspot is the highest connection possible, is the highest priority possible, that means that worst case scenario, I turn on my hotspot and my Bjorn automatically connects to my hotspot. Why that's important is because you can lock yourself out of SSH and have to re-image your device in the event that you lock yourself out completely. So now we're going to create a secondary that we're able to do that. So first, we're going to show the connections again. Okay, so CIA VAN, my home connection, basically is the connection that we want to actually modify, right? So I'm just going to copy this snippet of code right here because I believe in pre-configurations. Essentially, it's a nice way of me saying I'm lazy. Now, this has to sit between quotation marks because it is a string value. Do remember that, guys. All right, sudo and mcli connection modify connection autocorrect priority 999. However, we do not want 999 because we already have a highest priority connection. We don't want these guys to enter any sort of conflict. So I'm going to put this one as 998. And now we hit the button. Okay, so now let's verify that it actually did, in fact, work, right? So show, put the quotation marks, CIA van. Bear with me, I am doing this holding a cell phone to my computer screen. And bingo! As you can see here on the screen, 998 is the CIA van connection. That is my home network, which means it will pick that every single time as a secondary without fail. So that'll basically allow it to do so. Now, if you want to do another way to actually verify your connections, and I have done this, to find my connection, again, copy and pasting, because again, I'm an engineer, so I'm lazy. Okay, you got it right here, and boom. And this lists your connections. Your list of connections are right here. Basically, it will list it not by priority, but it'll list it by connections. The first connection is going to be the connection that's actually connected to, and then there's going to be the secondary connection that it picked up. This basically concludes that tutorial. So in short, what that does is it allows my Bjorn to essentially connect to networks, and if something goes wrong, like you tried to set it to a specific IP address or you tried to set it somewhere and it didn't go quite as planned, it's okay. All you have to do is switch on your hotspot on your phone or the hotspot or wherever you actually put it, and Bjorn will automatically connect to the connection with the highest priority. That will keep you from having to re-image your device every time. This concludes my tutorial. Comment, like, subscribe. Thank you.